Hello, everyone, and welcome back to LA Rams Central. I am doing the show here today on Tuesday, the whole show, now that the Monday night game is over as well. I will talk a little bit, obviously, about the Ram game, but before I do the Ram game, I want to end with the Ram game, go into the bye week, and kind of wrap things up. I'm going to make the first segment about the games that were played and skip the Ram game for the second segment. And obviously there is no game next week for the Rams, so we won't have to worry about doing a breakdown of the bye week because, well, it's a bye week, so we don't have to worry about that. So, without further ado, let me go ahead and get this show started with the picks. So, I went 7-8. Like Jeff Fisher, I can't seem to do better than 7-9. Would be 7-9 if there was another game to be played. I'm right around 500, much like our god-awful excuse for a head coach. I won't call him a pro because that would indicate that the man has some ability as a professional football coach. I'll just refer to him as Mr. 7-9, or as I like to say this year, about to be a new Mr. 3-13. So, I'll get into all that later. Green Bay, Chicago went exactly as everyone expected. The Packers superior in comparison to the Bears. The Bears, as bad as things are in LA, could be worse. Of course, with the Bears losing, they at least get a draft pick. We don't. We get to just allow someone else to draft high. The Bears are terrible, and there's nothing else I can say about that. So if you're a Bears fan, tune in tonight, as I know you will, and enjoy the Cubs in the World Series. Skip that one for now. Cleveland at Cincinnati, my upset pick, huh? How do you guys like it? It's terrible. I suck at this game. Look, the bottom line is Cleveland's played well enough to win a lot of games, but this wasn't one of them. Cincinnati absolutely blew the doors off of the Cleveland Browns and made no doubt that they were not thrilled with their performance so far this season. And they did well. I mean, the running game was obviously a big part of what the Bengals did, running all over the Cleveland Browns. But Hogan looked good in his chance, as he is now, the 135th quarterback to play for the Cleveland Browns. Interesting note. Washington at Detroit. Why are the Lions winning? Why are the Lions winning? They have no talent. They have a quarterback, sort of. And our coach is better. Well, clearly not, because he knows how to win the close games. That was a stretch. I didn't mean to insult Caldwell that badly. No one's as bad as Jeff Fisher. The Lions are winning, though. And much like the Minnesota Vikings, it's had me scratching my head. The Lions the last 2 weeks now have been a little bit of an anomaly. I don't know if this is going to be a norm and continuing through and be a playoff team, but think about this, guys. For the wild card race, the Rams are now a game behind Detroit, and they're now a game behind the Giants. Yeah. The Lions at 4-3 looked good. They ran the ball when they had to, much like they did last week. They threw the ball effectively, and their defense made the stops they had to make down the stretch. Washington turned the ball over a lot, but the Lions have been forcing turnovers now, the last 3 weeks? I said 2 in a row. They've won 3 in a row. I got to give credit where credit's due, but I don't see this formula lasting much longer. I think the Lion freight train is about to come to a screeching halt in the very near future. But kudos to them, they did win. Oakland at Jacksonville went exactly the way people expected. They absolutely blew the doors off the Jacksonville Jaguars. Again, I wasn't a fan of Jacksonville going into this year. They were everyone's sexy pick, but I just thought they were going to be improved. And I haven't even really seen that yet. So if you're a Jaguar fan, it is time to hang your head because this is looking bleak as ever. And it's not going to get better on Thursday night, and I'll explain why later. They can't stop the run, and they can't really cover third receivers well. They do a great job of covering the first receiver, and the second receiver is getting shut down every week, slowly but surely, and that's because their DB that they got, I think is Jalen Ramsey, is getting better each week. But the slot receiver is still killing them, and the tight end. And that's not going to change because Jacksonville doesn't have talent there. Maybe in another year. New Orleans at Kansas City. Closer game than it was a game. I expected that kind of a game. And I think Kansas City played well. But, New Orleans played well too, but Kansas City just played a little bit better, and being at home, I think that had a lot to do with it. And we saw the fruits of Kansas City's labor as they picked up a big, big victory at home to improve to now, 4-2? So kudos to the Kansas City Chiefs. Buffalo at Miami. Guys, I don't know what to say about this game. Buffalo didn't beat the Dolphins? And you talk about an impressive running game. Aya is absolutely running all over people. 2 straight 200-yard games. It's only been done 3 other times in the history of the game. So if Miami continues to run the ball like this and play just solid defense, they have a really good shot at coming all the way back. And remember, guys, I had Miami as my most improved team in the AFC East, so maybe this is a step in the right direction. Maybe it's just smoke and mirrors. I don't know. But that's another impressive win 2 weeks in a row. Baltimore at the Jets. The Ravens are not good, and it doesn't look good for the future. You can't beat that team. You've got several issues on your forefront that you need to evaluate yourself on. It's just a bad loss any way you look at it against a bad football team. Not leaving me real optimistic when the Rams play the Jets if the Ravens can't beat them. So it's like, what the crap is going to happen? I know what's going to happen. Jeff Fisher is going to happen. Anyway, Minnesota at Philadelphia. Really? When I don't pick a you win? All right, I'm picking Minnesota the rest of the year. And we'll see if this continues. I didn't think the Vikings were a particularly strong team to begin with. I thought it was funny that Zimmerman was complaining about his offensive line. Dude, you're missing 3 starters on the line. Really 3.5, because your center that you picked up this year wasn't. I don't think it was a center. One of your linemen that you picked up this year was not a starter, but was a starter on your team. I don't know what you're expecting. And Sam Bradford. Sam Bradford's your quarterback. You're not going to be good. You got off to a great start. I don't know how you did. I know how you did it, defense, but not impressed. Not impressed. And last week against Philadelphia, they were smoked by a much better Eagles defense. It was the first high-talented defensive unit they've seen all year long, in my opinion. Atlanta at home against San Diego. I'm going to skip one game real quick. I want to talk about this one. 4th and 1. Guys, look, coaching 101. And this is why I say no coach in today's football, and I'm including Bill Belichick on this, because Bill Belichick is the smartest man in the room, which normally is a compliment. But when the room is surrounded by toddlers and infants, mentally, you just have to be a 3rd grader to be better than everybody in the room. I don't know how good Bill Belichick is because I know how bad the coaching in the NFL is. Does that make sense out there? I can't evaluate Bill Belichick effectively or appropriately because the people that are coaching in the NFL are so woefully weak that it's an embarrassment and a black sore just engulfing the face of the NFL. They better find better coaching. You had better coaching. You had Jim Harbaugh. You let him go. We don't know. I don't know how good Belichick is. I don't know why Atlanta goes for it on 4th and 1 in that situation. I don't know. Either he had no confidence in his defense or he had way too much confidence in his offense. But it's not hard there, guys. You punt the ball, coffin corner, kick him inside the 5, and take your chances for a safety. Or at least hold him and get phenomenal field position the next time around. Instead, you give him the ball right there. 1 first down, kick a field goal, see you later, adios, vio con Dios. Bad coaching. It's bad coaching. And it happens in the league all over the place. And I'll say this a lot as I see mistakes coming down the pike. Indianapolis at Tennessee. I thought the Titans were better than that. I did. They're not. They played poorly, and they got smoked right out of the building. I know it was only 34-26, but if you watch the game, you never really got the feeling that Tennessee was going to hang on and win that game, really in any way, shape, or form. Tampa Bay at San Francisco in the who gives a crap game of the week. Two bad football teams. Tampa Bay better win, because there's not too many other teams on their schedule they're going to win and beat. But they did beat San Francisco in San Francisco, so Winston looked good in the Buccaneers offense, moved the ball, and scored against the defense we couldn't put a point on the board for. So Bucks win that one, as expected. New England, Pittsburgh. I originally picked the Steelers, but I didn't know Big Ben was out. Once that happened, I changed my pick on the weekly picks in the pool to New England. That's why I said I have 7 wins and not 6. No Big Ben, no chance. And the New England Patriots absolutely blew them out of the building when they needed to. It wasn't a blowout as far as game goes, but it was impressive. I picked Arizona over Seattle. They tied. They tied. Kick a field goal. Do your job. Kick the field goal. I don't know how Seattle missed it. I get the Cardinal miss. The guy leaped over and blocked it earlier in the game, and he sees him flying up in the air again, and it probably distracted him, and he shanked it. Not making excuses, but it's a more understandable miss than the inexplicable former extra point field goal. I think it was a 19-yarder he missed, which used to be the extra point. It was bad. It was real bad. But it was what it is. So, Cardinals win? No. But they don't lose. So, 7-1. Houston at Denver. Thought this game would be better for Denver than it was. I felt like everyone's talking about how great Denver looked and how bad the Texans looked. I actually thought it was a respectable game for Houston, considering they didn't have much talent. 27-9 isn't great. It wasn't a shutout. They didn't move the ball, but I thought their defense, considering how long they were on the field, really held their own and showed the potential, if these two meet again, in actually being able to compete. That wraps up the first part of the show. I'm going to do my predictions for Week 8 next. Then I'll evaluate the Ram game and talk about what we need to do with the bye week. Fire Jeff Fisher, please. Next week's show is going to be brief. It's going to be a lot like this week as far as my evaluation of games. So I'm going to start with the Thursday night game. The Thursday night game is Jacksonville at Tennessee. I think Tennessee is better than they played against Indy, and I think Jacksonville's defense is not as good against the run as Indy's defense was, and I felt like Tennessee ran the ball well. I think Mariota will light him up on his legs, with his legs, and through the air. And again, slot receiver tight end is going to be the key here, but I look for DeMarco Murray to run all over Jacksonville, as the Titans should win. Washington at Cincinnati. I'm picking the Redskins. It's in London, so it's not really in Cincinnati. And I just think that the Redskins are a better team. I think they're going to start another 4-game winning streak. And I think we'll be talking about the 8-3 Redskins in no time flat. Maybe even the 7-4 Redskins if they lose one along the way. But I think they're going to win 4 of their next, certainly 6 games, if not 5. And I think this is going to be the beginning for it, because I do think the Redskins are a good overall team. I don't know how they're going to stop A.J. Green, but I don't know how Cincinnati's going to stop the running game of the Washington Redskins. So, and I think that's going to play a major part of it, provided they don't turn the ball over. And don't sleep on those Redskin receivers. And their defense is better than Cleveland, and they only put up 31 against the Browns. So I'm going to go with the Redskins in that one. New England at Buffalo, Belichick doesn't lose twice to the same team. He just doesn't. I like Rex Ryan, but he did it against a very depleted Patriot team. They have Tom Brady. New England obliterates Buffalo right out of the equation. Jets at Cleveland. Boy, Fitzpatrick couldn't have picked a better game to come back in, right? Not by choice, but he's back. I think the Jets are going to beat the Cleveland Browns, and I think Fitzpatrick's going to get back on track. Whether he stays there all year or not, time will tell. Detroit at Houston, I think, is going to be a Houston Texan whitewash. I don't believe in the Lions. I certainly don't believe in the Lions on the road. And I think the Houston Texans are going to be smarting, and they always play better at home. So I look for the Texans to win that one pretty impressively. Here's a fun game. It might be one worth watching. Now, I'm saying that with full awareness that this is probably going to be one of those crap games. Kansas City and Indy. I'm picking the Chiefs, but I think it's going to be a fun game. It's the game of the week, in fact, to watch. Here we go again. See if it's a blowout. I'm excited for this game. There's no Ram game this week. This is the one I'm excited to see. Kansas City at Indy should be fun, and I think the Chiefs will find a way to pull out a victory in a high-scoring, fun game to watch. Seattle at New Orleans. I don't know how the Saints win this game. Seattle can't score, New Orleans scores a lot, but they don't do well against good defenses, and let's face it, this is a good defense to get ready for if you're struggling. So I'm going to pick New Orleans because they're home, and I just don't like what I'm seeing from Seattle, but I will not be surprised if the Seahawks blow them out. It could be one of those situations. Oakland at Tampa Bay is going to be a Raider whitewash. I look for Amari Cooper to have over 150 yards receiving. Murray's going to have over 100 yards rushing. David Carr should have over 300 yards passing. And this is going to be Super Bowl 37 in reverse, where the Raiders blow out the Bucs. Arizona at Carolina. Carolina's defense isn't as good as Seattle's, but they didn't score a lot of points against Seattle either. And Arizona's looked really bad this year. At 3-3-1, though, I think this is a team they can and will beat to improve to 4-3-1. I see the Cardinals winning this one in a very close game. San Diego at Denver. Well, the Chargers beat them last time. And Denver's riding a mile high, pun intended, after their win over Houston. This is a trap game. I think San Diego could surprise a lot of people. And look, they beat Atlanta on the road, and Atlanta beat Denver in Denver. So I'm picking San Diego, but I think it could easily go the other way. They're going to be hungry to beat the Chargers, but I think the Chargers are hungry to prove, hey, we could do this. And with a vote coming up in 2 weeks to build a stadium in San Diego, this could be the biggest game in Charger history to get that stadium approved. Green Bay at Atlanta. This is going to be no contest. Guys, I'm telling you, this is a blowout. Atlanta is going to obliterate the Green Bay Packers. I know what Green Bay did offensively, but they've been struggling this year offensively, and that defense doesn't impress. Atlanta wins handily. Philly at Dallas on Sunday night. Dallas and Dak Prescott look good, but so does Carson Wentz and that Eagle defense. I'm actually thinking the Eagles are going to light them up defensively, and I think they're going to win. I think they could shut down Ezekiel Elliott, and Dak's going to struggle with that secondary. I'm picking the Eagles in a close one, maybe 27-24, 21-21. 24-21, one of those kind of games. The Monday night game, October 31st, Halloween. It's going to be a fright night for the Bears. The Vikings could put up 60 with no quarterback under center. The Bears look bad, and this looks very, very bleak. If you are a Chicago Bear fan, I am picking the Vikings in that one. Coming up on the final segment, my evaluation of the game, some conversation, and what the Rams need to do during the bye week. Fire Jeff Fisher. Fire Jeff Fisher. Case Keenum's your guy. Well, I have news for you from the fans here at LA Rams Central on behalf of LA Rams Central. You and your lover boy, your love child, we don't want you. Get out. Leave. Go home. Go home. You suck at your job. The quarterback sucks at his job. I got news for you, Jeff. I looked at the tape. I watched the game. Those 4 interceptions, let me break them down for you, since you're obviously not smart enough to do it yourself. Boris, listen carefully. I'm only going to give one free lesson, and this is yours. The first interception was a laser beam in triple coverage over the middle to a guy that historically doesn't catch the ball. That's Case Keenum's fault. I don't care that it was volleyed into the air. It was a perfect pass. That was Tavon Austin's fault. Well, Tavon Austin drops the ball a lot. I mean, a lot. I wouldn't trust him to hold a baby. He would probably drop that too. The man can't catch half the time. So don't throw him a laser beam in triple coverage, and you won't be playing volleyball with a pick six. That's on Keenum. That is unequivocally 100% on Case Keenum. Watch the tape, Jeff. Look who's coming open on the swing route to the backside of the formation. Oh, who could it be? Is it a plane? Is it a bullet? Whatever it is with Super... No, it's Todd Gurley running scot-free in the flat. Throw it to him. Get a first down. Keep the drive alive. Not complicated. But you made it complicated by forcing a dart into triple coverage to a receiver that can't catch the ball. Let's look at the second pick now, shall we? Still giving you a free lesson, Boris. It's a long one, so you might want to record it. All right? Second pick. Second pick. I remind everybody the play before the second pick. Quick is wide open. And he throws it to Scotland. The country. And Quick is like, really? Really? I'm standing right here. So he throws the ball and the safety goes, or the linebacker, pops it up in the air. Guess what? Another pick off of the deflection. But I remind you, if you look at the tape, he shouldn't have thrown the ball. He should have eaten it at that point. We were down 17-10 anyway, or actually it was 10-10, and forcing it is going to give him great field position, and it did. Instead, he throws it. The linebacker, not your receiver, Jeff, the linebacker tips the ball, and the dude that pick-sixed it picked it off again. The third interception was in double coverage. He throws the ball downfield like I punt the ball. It goes straight up and comes down 7 days later. Not only that, but you got speed in Tavon Austin, which I'm yet to see. I don't see this guy break away from anybody. Have you? Am I missing something? Where's this vaunted Tavon Austin speed? I think Mike Quick is faster. That's just between you and me. But we continue to throw him on fly routes where he never beats the defense. I'll say that again slowly, Boris, so you have time to take your pen and you can write this down slowly. Tavon Austin never, not sometimes, not a couple of times, not even once, never beats his coverage. He's always covered. Or he gets open on outs and ins. But he's never open on the deep route. And the few times he's been open, it's because Keenum sucks at his job and the ball falls short and he comes back and reacts to it. And the few times Tavon Austin's been open, he still didn't beat the coverage because he drops the football. So we throw into double coverage. I don't want to hear that it's Tavon Austin's fault. I don't want to hear it. Okay? I get it. You are in love with Case Keenum. You guys bake cookies together in the weeks that you in the days off. You guys hold hand in hand and you sing Kumbaya in the park. You draw pictures with your hearts around each other's faces. I get it. You love Case Keenum. Okay? You want to marry Case Keenum. You're just disappointed that your wife wouldn't approve. I get it. The rest of us don't get it. It's actually, quite frankly, repulsive, but we get it. You're in love with Case Keenum. You're also the only one. Now, it's double coverage. Double coverage. You've got Rogers Cromartie in front, and you've got the safety coming over the top. He could have thrown it out this way, but he didn't. Instead, he threw it in the direction of Rogers Cromartie and the incoming safety. And Rogers Cromartie acted like he was the intended receiver. You're going to put that on the receivers? You're going to put that on the receivers. Okay. Should we talk about the game-ending pick? Do we want to talk about the fair catch? That's what I'm going to call that one. That one's the fair catch. Fair catch. Because he could have fair caught it. I understand there was a miscommunication there. I get it. But what is Case Keenum doing? He takes the shotgun, sees the pressure, and just throws it. Like a high school quarterback would. And no receiver. Why? Because he didn't take a tenth of a second to see what Quick was doing and throw it away. No, he threw it away. He threw the game away. Instead of living to fight another down, I don't even know if there was one. I can't remember now if it was fourth down or third down. I think it was third down. It was fourth down. So he didn't have an option anyway. So not only does he audible to the absolute wrong call, but he communicates it poorly to the wide receiver that he can't ensure that the guy knows what's being called, and then he throws it in the end zone. Are you kidding me? Case Keenum's your guy. He's your guy. Well, listen, Mr. 3-13, Captain, I suck at my job. We don't want Case Keenum. And you're not going to convince me, Ram Nation, or anybody except the idiots that cover the sport on the network and ESPN, that this guy's even remotely on the same level as Jared Goff. And I don't care that Jared Goff's a rookie. Jared Goff is not this bad. I don't care, guys, if he ends up playing this year and goes 17 of 31 for 140 yards, watch his balls. Watch the balls that he throws. Watch the passes that he makes, because they're going to be cleaner, they're going to be sharper, and they're going to be more on target. That's just the fact. So we're stuck with Keenum. So you have an option. You can go to the game against Carolina, and I wouldn't blame you if you didn't, and how hard is that for me to say? Or you can go to the game, and every single time Case Keenum even looks at the field, boo him out of the building. Boom, out of the building. Boom, out of the building. We're done with him. And boo Fisher. Boo him. And if Jared Goff plays, and plays well, here's the chant I want Ram Nation to yell. You were wrong, Fisher. You were wrong, Fisher. Make it rhyme, make it work. Take something to that effect. Boo him even harder when Jared comes in and plays well. Because he will. At this point, guys, I have no optimism. None. I sat there and I watched a game that was about as bad of a football game as I've ever seen in my life. And I will remind you guys, I coached a football team at Chandler Prep that had 185-pound soaking wet athletes going up against linemen of 330 or better who bench press all day long, 7 days a week for an entire year, while our guys were reading books and studying and doing what they needed to do and the occasional bench press. Okay, I saw games where we had negative yards of total offense, and we played better football than what I saw on Sunday against the Giants in London. We played better football than that. This was the worst performance I've ever seen the Rams put on the field. Ever. Like, this dwarfed the New York Giant, the San Francisco 49er game. Dwarfed it. Absolutely dwarfed it. It was pathetic. It was pathetic on all fronts. And again, it comes down to coaching. So, I got some people that are done. Can't watch this anymore. I don't want to discredit the New York Giants. If you're a fan out there of the Giants, your football team played really good defensively. They shut down the run, and they did exactly what I said you need to do to beat the Rams. Stop it! Stop putting 8 guys in the box. Our front 5 can't block your front 3. They can't. Even with the odds in their favor, they can't do it. So drop back if you're a 3-4 defense with 3 down linemen, use 4 linebackers, and play cover 2 zone. If you play 4-3, drop back with your 3 linebackers in your secondary and play cover 2 zone. Because the Rams can't run the ball, they can't open up holes, and that quarterback cannot throw the ball downfield with any level of accuracy or ability whatsoever. He got dumb lucky against Tampa Bay, and he got occasionally lucky against a very bad Detroit Lion football team. But as long as your corners are somewhat adequate, you're going to do just fine. So look for Carolina to do the exact same thing. Look for the Jets to do the exact same thing. Look for the Dolphins to do the exact same thing. Look for the Saints to do the exact same thing. The Patriots, all the way down the line, guys. This is a 3-13 season. Buckle up and get ready. And the best part is, at least when we go 3-13, we have a top draft pick in the first round. We don't even have that. We don't even have that. So what good can come out of 3-13? Say it carefully. We go 3-13. Jeff Fisher and Case Keenum, the Lover Boys, get put in a nice little package and get booted right out of the building. They'll never step foot in LA again unless they're buying a goddamn ticket. That's the best thing that can come out of a 3-13 season. Because, boys, we're going 3-13. And I have no confidence whatsoever, sitting at 3-12, that Jeff Fisher would put in Jared Goff. I don't. I legitimately have this much confidence that Jared Goff is going to see the field. And if he does, at this point, he might hand the ball off 45 times and give Jared maybe 6 pass attempts. That's the card we're dealt. Why do we suck? Because of Jeff Fisher. He's not doing 7-9 anymore. And boy, didn't he make sure he was going to do that? Boy, didn't he make sure there was going to be no more 7-9 season. He's right. There is no 7-9 season, guys. We're talking 3-13, 4-12. If we're lucky, 5-11. Great time to be a fan, huh? Hey, at least we're back in LA. We can enjoy this season for what it is, the return to LA, and the last season Jeff Fisher ever coaches the Los Angeles Rams. I don't have better news for you guys. We have a bye week. Relax. Enjoy it. It'll be a really short episode next week because I'm going to just quickly go over the games. I'm going to quickly go over the scores or my predictions. And we'll talk a little bit about the Ram-Carolina game. And I mean a little bit because here's my analysis of the Carolina game going in. Keatom's still our quarterback. Fisher's still our coach. Carolina wins in a rout. Moving on. It may literally be that short. We'll see if anything develops over the course of the next week. I am hoping to hear contract news on Jeff Fisher. And that contract news is Jeff Fisher's been fired, and now Greg Williams is the interim head coach. Would love to see it. Would love to see it. But I have my doubts. That's a wrap for LA Rams Central. See you next week.